Imagine this for a moment. You're sleeping peacefully. Cities are quiet. Families are dreaming. And somewhere deep underground, a single human finger hovers over a red button. If that button is pressed, nations disappear. Oceans boil. The sky burns, and most people on Earth never wake up. This is not fiction. This has already happened more than once. These are the moments when the world almost ended, and humanity survived. By luck, hesitation, or one brave decision. The first moment takes us back to 1962. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union were enemies, both armed with nuclear weapons powerful enough to destroy the planet many times over. Then came the Cuban Missile Crisis. American spy planes discovered Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from the U.S. coast. The world held its breath. For 13 days, the planet stood on the edge of nuclear war. U.S. warships surrounded Cuba. Soviet submarines hid underwater, carrying nuclear torpedoes. On one of those submarines, the crew believed war had already started. They lost communication with Moscow. American ships began dropping warning depth charges. The submarine captain decided to launch a nuclear torpedo. Only one man stood in the way. His name was Vasily Arkhipov. By Soviet rules, all 3 senior officers had to agree to launch. 2 said yes. Arkhipov said no. He argued. He delayed. And finally, the launch was cancelled. If Arkhipov had agreed, nuclear war would have begun that day. Millions would have died within hours. The world survived because one man refused. Years later, in 1983, humanity came even closer. A Soviet early warning system suddenly reported something terrifying. 5 American nuclear missiles were heading toward the Soviet Union. Alarms screamed. Screens flashed red. The officer on duty was Stanislav Petrov. Protocol demanded that he report the attack immediately, which would trigger a nuclear counterstrike. But something felt wrong. Petrov noticed. The system reported only 5 missiles. A real U.S. attack would launch hundreds. He trusted his instinct and called it a false alarm. It was right. The system had mistaken sunlight, reflecting off clouds for missiles. If Petrov had followed orders, the world would have ended in minutes. But nuclear war isn't the only way the world almost ended. About 74,000 years ago, long before modern civilization, Earth faced a natural disaster so powerful it nearly wiped out humanity. The Toba supervolcano. In present-day Indonesia, it was the largest volcanic explosion in human history. Ash covered the sky. Temperatures dropped worldwide. Sunlight was blocked for years. Scientists believe the human population may have fallen to just a few thousand individuals. Humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction, not by war, but by nature itself. Every human alive today may be descended from that small surviving group. Then there was September 26, 1983, the same year as the Petrov incident. A Soviet nuclear command center detected what appeared to be an incoming U.S. missile strike. This time, it wasn't a computer glitch. A Soviet satellite malfunctioned. Once again, leaders had minutes to decide. Once again, the world stood on the edge. Once again, no one pressed the button. Another close call came during the Cold War radar failure in 1979, when U.S. systems mistakenly showed a full-scale Soviet nuclear attack. Fighter jets were launched. Missile crews prepared to fire. At the last moment, officials discovered the cause. A training tape had been accidentally loaded into the system. A simple human error, nearly ending civilization. Even in recent history, the danger hasn't disappeared. In 1995, Russia detected what it believed was a U.S. missile launch. President Boris Yeltsin was handed the nuclear briefcase. For the first time ever, a Russian leader activated it. Minutes later, they realized it was a Norwegian scientific rocket. Once again, the world survived by seconds. What's most terrifying isn't how powerful these weapons are. It's how fragile the systems controlling them can be. False alarms, miscommunication, human fear, political tension. Again and again, History shows us the same truth. The end of the world doesn't require evil intentions. It only requires a mistake at the wrong moment. We often think the end of the world will be loud, dramatic, and obvious. But history tells a different story. The world almost ended quietly, in control rooms, behind desks. In moments of confusion, it didn't end not because we were prepared, but because someone hesitated. Someone questioned the system. Someone chose not to press the button. And that raises a final question. If humanity survived by luck before, will we always be that lucky? If you found this story powerful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Because history doesn't just tell us where we came from. It warns us about where we might be going.